All right. Welcome back to another episode of Light Skin Pod, episode 33. I turned 33 next Wednesday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, right? I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Not this old.
You know, yeah, careful.
Yeah, my bad.
Hey,
Let's not jump into it real crazy, but like we always start, like and subscribe, share, looking to continue to get our followers up and get some of these episodes out to people who are interested or even not interested. Just watch it. But we have Mr. Sandy Hoff here with us today. Thanks for being on.
Absolutely. Fun to be here with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And what a great environment.
Yeah, it's
Look
fun.
at this.
A lot of people like it as soon as they come out. It's a Dan Hanger. When we had him on, he thought this was a green screen.
Yeah.
He swore up and down. So he said, I
kidding.
need to come see the set. And he walked around for a while just looking at all the signs, asking Joe a lot of questions where he got stuff from. What is every time I come in here, I've been in here a bunch apart from even the podcast, but I always notice something different too.
Yeah. Well, with all our businesses, I tell our employees I'm in the experience business. Mm-hmm. We're in the experience business. Right? Yeah. This creates an experience.
Definitely.
You walk to the door and look at it.
Boom, as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
So, well, like we always start, tell us about Baby Sandy.
Baby.
We're going back.
God. Well, I'm as you noted, I'm old now.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm 63, and I was born in Duluth, 1961, and lived here through elementary school. Yep. And then my parents were divorced, and my mom moved us to Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, dang, okay.
So I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and graduated from high school, Lincoln High School in Des Moines, Iowa. Mm-hmm. And then I took a year off before I went to college. Yep. And I traveled for a year throughout the world with an international music group called Up With People.
Up With People.
Yeah, and back in the day, it was a well-known organization. Mm-hmm. And halftime of the Super Bowl and some other fun things. And
that's wild.
So I traveled Europe and Mexico, a little bit in Canada, and we did shows in lots of different venues. It's an organization that brings people from multiple countries together to build bridges of communication and understanding.
Cool, okay.
And they do it through music.
Yeah.
And so then I started UMD the following year and was there for 4 years, got my degree in business and finance from UMD. Business marketing predominantly was my focus. And in the interim, the Up With People group called me the next summer and said after I started college that we're doing shows, just a stage show at the World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, dang, okay.
Would you be interested in coming down to Knoxville and working for us for the summer? I said, hell yes, that'd be fun. Mm-hmm. So I did that, went back to UMD the next year, and they called me again in February and said, well, we're going to do stage shows at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, yep.
So I was a stage performer at SeaWorld for 4 months down in Orlando. And a ton of fun. I competed with Shamu the whale every day.
How was that?
It was the whale won most of the time.
Well, okay.
But we beat the water ski team quite often, and it was really fun. We got to know everybody there, and after the day ended, we got to go back and work with the whale trainers, dolphin trainers, and got to do some fun stuff with Shamu and the dolphins, and a terrific experience. So I came back, got my degree in marketing from UMD in business. Mm-hmm. And last couple of years I was at UMD, I started in the family real estate business. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to back up a little bit and then I'm going to catch up. So, all right, when you were born here, which part of Duluth were you born in?
I went to Congdon Elementary.
Oh, Congdon.
So I lived on Gracelawn Road, East Duluth. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brothers and sisters?
Yep. Sister Cindy, she is back living in Duluth, and brother Jay lives out in Pennsylvania, works for Penn State.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we're all going skiing together this winter. We do a lot of fun things together. So
I used to go. So I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
And I used to spend a lot of time in Pennsylvania, primarily Reedsville. And Reedsville is super close to Penn State.
Sure.
So we used to go fishing in Penns Creek and places like that. I'm a fly fisherman. And this Japanese guy taught me how to fly fish. So we used to tie them on flies and we go out there and just fish for hours. And sometimes the weekends we try to catch cicada hatches out there. And
really?
Yeah. And in high school, my first official visit for football was to Penn State.
Okay.
Yep. So it was fun. I went to a whiteout game. And it was just wild seeing 100,000 people, you know,
Amazing.
all white spinning the rags.
Did you
and
play
stuff.
for Penn State?
No. I ended up going to West Virginia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's an experience. Like, I miss the area, and I think about going out towards Penn State a lot, just to go fishing again. Plus, I got a bunch of friends out there.
Well, don't leave here. You got to come back.
Yo, yeah.
We need you here.
Yeah, I'm locked into Duluth, to be
good.
honest. So when you moved to Des Moines,
Yeah.
How old were you exactly? Do you remember?
Well, how old are you when you're in the 6th grade? That's a good question.
12?
10, 12,
yeah.
13, somewhere there. Yeah.
How was the move for you from leaving Duluth to going out to Des Moines?
Well, you know, I'd say it was challenging and a bit traumatic at first because you leave all your friends, new school, new environment, and it's not Duluth.
Yeah.
It's a big city and a cornfield.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, over the years of junior high and high school, I developed some great friendships and wonderful, fond memories of living there and being there.
Yeah.
Got along great with my stepfather, and
Okay.
and my mom got remarried. And,
Okay. How old were you when she got remarried?
well, just about the 6th grade. So
Okay,
when I
yeah.
started there, she got remarried,
Got it.
and so we had a wonderful time. But frankly, Des Moines is not Duluth,
Yeah.
and we all won the lottery living here.
Yeah.
And so I was happy to say thank you very much. And my mom and stepfather had cabins in northern Minnesota,
Okay, got it. That
And
looks like
so-
you visited.
so I got to see them quite often when
Yeah.
they were here, and so that worked out. It worked out just fine.
Yeah.
Whereabouts were the cabins?
So they were over in the Marcel area by north of Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
And we'd go over and say hi to them a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then we have a family cabin that we've had for 80 years up on Lake Vermilion.
Okay.
And so,
What made you want to come to UMD for school? What was that?
well, a number of things. My parents encouraged me to look around. I applied for the University of Utah, I think, Salt Lake. And,
Mormons.
and I was accepted. I was not pursuing the Mormon
Yeah, you
path,
were.
but and Montana, I think I was accepted to university there. And as I looked around, I had the benefit, through up with people, of leaving town, exploring the world.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't looking to get away from my hometown, if you will.
Yeah,
I spent the summers here when I wasn't traveling. So this was still my hometown. I was here. My dad lived here, and so really, I thought I don't need to be out somewhere else. I want to come back to my hometown. I missed my high school years here.
Yeah.
And I knew University of Minnesota had one of the most outstanding businesses for schools for business. And I got to be with my father, who I didn't spend as much time with while I was in Des Moines. So it worked out great.
Yeah. It's crazy because when I left home, once I finally got out of the East Coast, I never want to go back.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I had some great experiences, memories and stuff, but probably a lot of tough stuff happened too back east.
Yeah.
And I look back now, you get on Facebook or you get on other social media and you see like what's going on back home, and I always call my little brother like, I'm so glad we got out, because I couldn't imagine, we'd probably be dead if we were still back home, to be honest.
A different world, isn't
way
it?
different world.
Yeah.
So when I came up here, I've been here for 8 years now. And it was random. I didn't know nobody at all. It's just a spot on the map, had some people playing football down for the Vikings, so kind of came up to, visit them, and, took around the area and just loved Duluth. And I ended up getting a second major at UMD.
Okay.
Too. And it was a totally different experience too, coming from such a big school, out, Morgantown to here. And the code was different, I spent a lot of time in upstate New York, in the Adirondacks, and it was cold there, but you didn't have the lake.
Yeah.
And my friends always say, "Oh, you've been in -30." I said, "Let me explain something to you. That -30 is not this, because the base temp is that, but whatever is blowing over that big ass lake, it don't matter what you got on, your coat, your Canadian.
It's the humidity.
It's different, like bone chilling, But for some reason, my crazy ass still here. I absolutely loved it.
Well, good for us. I think the first time I heard about you was when I was on the Woodland Hills board.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And neighborhood youth services.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And everybody would say, "Hey, have you met Pez? Yeah, he's down working with neighborhood youth services." you got to meet this guy. He's just a rock star. And
Appreciate
finally we did years ago.
Years ago.
It was your reputation preceded our meeting each other.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember we met too. My buddy Tim Huber was working on your house.
Yeah.
When you were getting the windows put in.
Yep.
And then I heard about you and I've been over there and helped him do some stuff. And then, if I remember, you were just about to acquire like the Rustic Inn or something.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's my favorite pie.
Yeah, good.
You know,
I was going to bring you some today.
Boy, see, don't tell me that. You can't tell me that because now I'm like, you got to leave and go
take
get
a
it.
rain check.
There you go. Yeah, I appreciate it. But so I want to go back to kind of that music group. Now, did y'all? Where are some of the like cool places you got to travel doing that? I know you say you got to. They performed at Super Bowl and stuff, but
so. When they go into communities,
Yeah.
they might be playing at what's equivalent to our deck auditorium.
Got it.
In Mexico, when we traveled, and remember this is 30 plus years ago, 35 years ago, they didn't have big stadium, they didn't have big indoor arenas, and they had stadiums, the bull rings.
Okay, yeah.
And Up With People back in those days was extremely popular down in Mexico. It's called Viva la Gente. Up
Okay.
With People. And so when we would do a show, it would be before anywhere from 30 to 60,000 people in a bull ring. And it was just amazing. We did, when the hostages returned from overseas in the 80s and the transition from Carter into Reagan's presidency, they flew half of our group in as they arrived in the United States to do a show with the president and the hostages as they arrived back. From, I believe it was the Iran-Contra affair, but and did a show at the 4th of July show with Johnny Cash in Tennessee Volunteer Stadium, and lots of small shows. You know, we go in and do smaller shows. Up With People, because of the evolution of the music industry, isn't as popular it was, and of course COVID had a big impact. But back in the day, United States, you could still fill an auditorium of 3,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. So I could go on for hours about all the cool shows. And
how long did you spend with that group?
A year traveling with the big group. Yeah. About 80, 90 people from all over the world.
Yep.
And that's really supposed to be an educational experience. And you stay in homes as you travel throughout the world. And then the next summer when I went back, I was essentially a professional stage performer. I did MC work and dance. I didn't sing very well.
Did you dance?
A little bit.
We got to find these old clips.
Yeah,
I know Sandy was.
I don't think back then they didn't have video cameras.
I said you dodged one. You dodged. That's cool though, man.
Yeah, so it was a stage show at World's Fair and then in SeaWorld. So, like I said, it was fun experiences, and then I really haven't been in any sort of performance since then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So when did you come back to Duluth and then start getting involved in business? Because I know that you do a lot of that.
Yeah, so early 1980s. So the family business, F.I. Salter Real Estate. Okay. And I just did a presentation for the chamber. Let's do lunch and give a little bit of history on it. So Frank Salter started the company in 1890 here in Duluth, back about when the original incline station was being built, to put it in some sort of perspective. Yeah, okay. The timber industry and mine industries, that was the sort of the industrial revolution for Duluth, the start of it anyway. And then a guy named Blackmar purchased it, and in 1946, my grandfather, John Hoff Sr., purchased the company. And so I'm third generation, and both of my kids, Callie and Braden, are in the business now. Oh, cool. Okay. And it was kind of fun. Callie, of course, had a fabulous career in hockey, National Division III Player of the Year, and
she's cool people too.
She's cool. She's cool. Fun. Yeah. And she's neat. And then son Braden went to UMD, got his master's degree in chemical engineering. Yeah. And expected him to go leave for a big chemical engineering job, and he said, I'd like to get in the real estate business. I said, no, you're way too smart for that. Right. And
don't stoop down to our level.
So it's great. So fourth generation here. So I got in the business, and at that time, very diversified commercial firm with commercial sales, leasing, property management. We had an insurance division at that time. And really not too much development, and then real estate appraisal. My dad did quite a bit of commercial appraisal work.
Yeah.
And so I had the ability to look across the firm to see what area that I liked most. And I liked the sales and appraisal aspect of it. And so that was where my focus was. And over the years, we grew the company. And then we've ebbed and flowed, and most recently we've taken on quite a bit of development in the last 10 plus years with some land developments, and of course the Pier B resort, which I partnered with my good friend Alex Giuliani, terrific guy who's just been amazing for Duluth. So anyway, that's kind of how I got into the company in the early 1980s.
How long has Pier B been up?
Well, we opened we technically got our certificate of occupancy at 2:30 in the afternoon on the day before Grandma's Marathon 2016.
That's wow, okay.
So, and I only know that because guests were waiting to officially check in, and they were literally finishing construction. And the press was there, and we're calling City Hall. We need our certificate of occupancy. We need it. We need it. They said it's ready. So I ran up to City Hall and grabbed it. Met Alex back down at Pier B for all the press interviews, and we had this couple that was there as they were the first official guest. Okay. And I was laughing because there was a couple that had actually stayed there the night before. They really shouldn't have, right? I mean, it wasn't a big deal. We were essentially open, but and they go, "No, we were the first couple." We go, "No, you weren't. You weren't here. Remember, we agreed you weren't here."
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so 2016.
Cool. That's wild because that's when I moved here, and and I guess I wasn't paying attention. When you at UMD, you only I talked about before on here, but like you just so focused in that UMD bubble part of it, you don't really venture down too much far out of Canal Park, or downtown or campus, So that's cool. So I was with, this is a funny story. So I was with Dan Russell, Johnny Goldfine, and then Mooch, Bill Watson, and we was out on Dan Russell's boat, and we took it from Knife River to like coming towards Duluth, maybe 8 or 9 miles, and we were going to fish and everything, and we got all the lines out. The wind started blowing. Dan said, "Hey, Pez, I need you to keep the boat steady." I said, "All right, I got it." Got one drink in my hand, smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, shoot, it's getting too windy." So we got spun around. All of the lines got caught up. So Dan had to go into the water. Okay, the water at the time was like 47 degrees.
Yeah.
Insane. Cut all the lines. We get everything in. Then we just book it towards Pier B. And Jeff Stark was there, and we had to go to the bathroom when we went inside and everything. But long story short, I've been in there before, but just seeing how it was grown in there, has been super cool. Yeah. Plus, we got to see they got the saunas that's on the boats. I thought that was cool as hell. I told them, I said, I got to do one of these because I sauna every day because I work out in the mornings. I said, man, I got to do one of those saunas.
You should. Yeah, the guys from Cedar and Stone, Justin and his partner, have put that all together. We just contract with them. They've done just a terrific job.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah,
and one of my friends worked in part there. Huh? Yeah, It's such a cool space. And to be honest, watching Duluth overall, you got to see Duluth grow a bunch, from where it was. And then, when was this sign here in Duluth? Because everybody talk about it. Last person in Duluth cut the lights out. What was that?
80s
or so?
Yeah, maybe.
So was that kind of when you first?
Yeah. And Duluth hadn't discovered its real tourism potential.
Yeah.
So my first office was the top of the Meyerhoff building, which is Waterfront Plaza, 7th floor. Yep. That's where the firm was, overlooking Canal Park. Except when I looked out of my office towards Lake Superior, overlooking Canal Park, it was a junkyard out by Grandma's.
Okay.
There was road machinery supply, a Jeep dealership that became the warehouse bar down there where those motels are.
Yep.
And I think the first hotel down there was the Hampton. And so Canal Park was industrial.
It was more like Garfield Avenue.
It was, very much.
Yeah.
And so, that was, how many years ago? 35 years ago. And what it's become today in that whole region is just fabulous. So, Andy Borg and his team really deserve kudos. And Bill Meyerhoff and the Goldfines, frankly, for sparking the evolution of our tourist industry.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, we had Brian Doherty on
Yeah.
just a couple weeks ago, and he got to talk about just some history with Andy Borg and how grandmas, came about and how that all got built up, and then the sports garden. And I would love, and I don't know if I've ever seen too many pictures myself from what Canal Park was. I would love to just see it side by side. Or
You
just,
really would enjoy it because
yeah.
it was industrial. The shoreline was full of concrete blocks
Yep.
and old junk, and that's how they stabilized the shoreline.
Yeah,
It was nothing like it is now.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and then when John Fito was mayor and they built the tunnel system
Okay.
and they had all that bluestone rock, he was clever enough to say, look, I don't want you to haul that somewhere else. I want to redo our shoreline out
Yeah.
here and create what basically is the lake walk. now.
Yeah, and the lake walk's beautiful.
It's fabulous.
I know they had to redo it too because of the big storm, but I mean, I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll go out there and walk
Oh,
sometimes.
it's amazing.
Yeah, take my dog on.
I remember when I was in college and the drinking age was less, we'd go to the warehouse bar down there. And there was a November night with these huge storms. And I left and the waves were epic and water was already kind of washing up into Canal Park. And my brother gets home about 2 hours later than I, and he said, gotta tell you, he says, the water was up to the headlights in my truck when I left. And by the way, a big salty ship washed up on Park Point.
God damn.
And I said, oh, you got to quit drinking so much. I said, come on. Well, of course, that's when the Socrates did wash up on Park Point, and the water and the waves destroyed much of Canal Park because it was a big storm.
Yeah. Well, that's
So anyway,
insane.
Yeah, people underestimate how big them storms are. If you get a chance to go down there in a big winter storm to
Yeah.
watch the icicles grow sideways off the buildings,
Yeah.
it's
isn't
pretty
that
cool.
isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got to see that yet. I live on Lake Avenue, and I can see pretty much the whole harbor from my house.
Yeah.
Up on my top deck, and there are times I'll sit up there and watch the whitecaps form, and then I'll drive down just to and it's insane. I remember when I first heard somebody say, "Oh, I'm gonna go surfing." I said, "Surfing where?" On the lake. I said, "Y'all crazy. There's no way." And like I said, I've been around the beach and everything.
Yeah.
I get this isn't the ocean, but this is the closest thing to the ocean that's around here, And I've watched some guys surf, and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm getting out there. I mean, well, I can't do it anyway, but even if I could, I'm probably not going out.
I'm with you. They are adventurous people.
Very.
My
And that water
gosh.
too cold. I remember my first time ever getting in Lake Superior, the first summer here in August. I was in the water for 5 minutes, my legs were numb. Couldn't feel nothing. Kids running around. I'm feeling like a little bitch. I'm like, this is terrible.
And it's August.
Yeah, and it's August, and for them, this is good now. The water's. I'm like, there is no way in the world.
Yeah.
They asked me to do the polar plunge this year with the police officers. I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna do it just because why not? Just say I did it, but I'll be.
You should.
Yeah, I might.
Go for it.
It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, let me know.
I got you.
I'll cheer you on.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. What was one of your funnest projects to work on real estate wise here in Duluth?
Pier B.
Pier B, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a success.
Yeah.
Working with my partner Alex, and what was partially fun about it is LaFar Cement Company had come to me and said, we're going to consolidate our operations to Superior.
Okay.
And we own half of that pier. The
Got it.
city of Duluth owns the other half. And it was operating as a cement plant. Basically, when you look at the silos, it's a huge vacuum cleaner.
Got it, yeah.
And the ships come in, the two black hoses that are still there, attached to the ship,
Yep.
and the equipment is still up top. It sucked all the powder out and put them in the
Wow.
silos.
Okay.
There was the bag house building next to it where, actually that was the loading facility, I guess, for trains and trucks.
Okay.
And then they would conveyor it over to the warehouse where our sports courts are now.
Okay.
And that's where they bagged it and shipped it out. So they said, we're consolidating to Superior. Would you sell this for us? Sure. So we did some appraisal work. We figured out the value. And I went and talked to everybody who's in the hospitality business here in the region. And I said, it's not zoned correctly, but I think this being next to Bayfront and on the water has some real opportunity.
Yeah, yep.
Because the city said they'd be interested in changing the zoning. And everybody said, go away, I think you're absolutely crazy. And so chatting with my good friend Alex, who was doing the Clyde Industrial Brownfield redevelopment at that point, which was just doing gangbusters. And so, I said, I wonder what the city of Duluth is thinking about this. So I said, if we assemble these two sites together and create a bigger site for redevelopment. Would you be willing? He said, that's why we bought this. That's why we own it. So Alex and I were having a beer probably at his place. And I said, Alex, I can't find anybody to buy it. I think there's a great opportunity here. And he said, I agree. And we toasted our beer. And the rest is history, as they say. We entered a purchase agreement for Lafarge. We put a development agreement in place with the city of Duluth. And we went and sought equity investors, all Duluth people, and they still are. All people who are successful in business here. There's 12 of us in total. And we went about finding out what the site should be from a hospitality standpoint, feasibility studies, and we built Pier B.
And that's dope. And it, like you said, sometimes when you hear stories like this and just the vision of it, sometimes it's hard to think how did nobody else vision that either, because like you said, Bayfront is right there, Canal Park is right around the corner down the block, and the deck is there, and it's like, this is, that's probably the most prime piece of real estate, one of anyway, there is down there, just to see how it's grown, because, it's always packed over there, especially in the summer. It's cool that you can dock your boats there, things like that. And a lot of friends that I have come into town, a lot of them stay there, and all they do is rave about, that was one of the best places I've ever been.
You said a lot of them, food. Not all of them?
Not all of them.
Come on.
Not all of them.
Come on.
So some of them can't afford it.
I know you got other friends. Okay.
But it's a little bougie there. But sometimes my friends too, they stay with me. I got guests, and it's free. Why not?
Well, and you've got a nice event center. My cousin got married there.
Yeah,
on the rooftop.
Thank you.
There.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it was nice.
No, it's turned out great. I think to answer your question, part of it is it was a brownfield, so it was contaminated. Slip 2, which is between us and Bayfront, was also contaminated. The entire 2,000 feet of shoreline needed to be fixed, and so you look at the challenges. And most people said, it just isn't worth diving in on that. And we had a terrific partner in the city, and her name is Heidi Tim Bijou, and she's now retired from the city. Heidi's known as the Dirty Dirt Girl. And she was our liaison with the city, and just an amazing person. And she helped us get grants from the state, both for the contamination and redevelopment. And then she was a champion for us in City Hall with Mayor Don Ness. Who was the mayor at the time, who really was a great supporter. And so the stars really aligned. We had leadership in the city that supported us. We had Heidi Tim Bijou, who was a great catalyst and helped us promote the project from within the city and helped us with brownfield redevelopment. So it just worked out great. And of course, Alex is just a super clever guy.
Definitely,
And smart. He's a CPA by training.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So a good balance. He's
numbers guy.
Crazy smart. He's a numbers guy, and creative, and take my creative side, and it was a good balance. So,
how long from that toast to the doors open? How long did that project take?
About 600 years. It felt like. I think it was 6.5 years.
Okay.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. But we were able to deal with the contamination in Slip 2 by working with the harbor dredge people and the Corps of Engineers to cap the contamination using clean dredge material.
Oh, damn.
So it was a win-win. They didn't have to haul all the dredge material way up the river and place it on the land up there. They just hauled it right up the harbor and placed it. So we did that for 1/10 of the cost of what the MPCA had estimated remediation was going to be. So
money's a good thing.
A great public-private partnership, and actually Alex and I were recognized by the Minnesota Brownfield Association, given the annual award for brownfield remediation.
Awesome, man. That's cool.
It was cool.
And see, this is why I loved it, because these are the history things I like to learn. And places you ride by, damn near every day, and it's like, man, I wonder how that kind of all started. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you have any cool projects coming up, in the future that you're working on now that you could talk about, or no? Or,
Well, absolutely. We're nothing as big as Pier B, really. On Haynes Road, right across from what's going to be Bass Pro, next to Johnson Mertz, we're doing another Tommy's Express style like Mr. Bubbles and Mr. Wash car wash.
Okay.
And a young entrepreneur in Duluth named Tanner Stokes is we're working with him, and he's going to run the operation. It's going to be called Tanner's Express.
Oh, that's dope. All
And
right.
it's going to be a different location, of course. Hopefully, capture a different audience, different market than what the ones on Central Entrance are.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I like them car washes
Yeah,
too.
they're
They're easy.
in and
Oh,
out,
yeah.
in and out, quick. Yep.
Yeah, I
So-
couldn't believe they built the second one so close.
So close. Yeah.
But it's nice that you're building one. On
Yeah,
Angel,
ours is in a different location.
Yeah.
Of course, we had already committed to the project, and when we found out Bass Pro was moving across the street, so
Which
that's
Perfect.
That's crazy because I lived in Downingtown, PA,
yeah.
and we used to drive to Harrisburg all the time to go to it's the biggest Bass Pro Shop there is.
Okay.
I think it might be the biggest one in the U.S.
Wow.
And every time, and that's the one that used to be Camper World, right?
Yeah.
Every single time I drive by there, I remember when it was Gander Mountain.
Yeah.
I said, why the hell ain't this a Bass Pro? I used to always think that.
I remember when Gander Mountain was Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That big ass building was Buffalo Wild Wings?
No, they were in a different location. Weren't they up on the? Were they on the other side of the? I thought Buffalo Wild Wings was across from the mall, Miller Mall.
It is.
Yeah,
But that's where Gander Mountain originally
that's right.
was.
Originally there. And then they moved
Oh,
over.
then they moved to the
Yes.
big
That's
place.
right. Yeah.
Got it.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yes.
Bass Pro Shop gonna do wonders.
I think it's going to be fabulous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, good, because I hate driving by it and ain't shit there. I thought about making a big ass dispensary one day.
Yeah.
That'd be
That would be
monster.
big.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Get your capital lined up.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. That would be insane.
That's a small project. You know, really. We just did the quarter deck resort over in the Nisswa area.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
I cannot believe that. My son and I stay
Yeah.
there every winter when there's a race up at Skigo Mountain.
Yeah, yeah.
We stay at the quarter deck every year.
Well, have you seen what we've done now? So we changed the old wedding venue to kind of this environment, a sports venue with pinball machines and pool tables, all sorts of cool
Oh, that's
things.
cool.
Yes.
And we
that's
added
right.
outdoor swimming pool and outdoor hot tub year round with heated decks.
Yes, so
And
we were
we
there
gotta go.
last year.
a huge sauna.
I'm going.
And the
Let me
quarter
know.
deck
Let
is
me know.
so fun in the winter.
Yeah.
Just to see the snowmobiles coming and going in and
Yeah.
off the lake. They got an old Phillips 66 sign, which I love.
Yeah,
But yeah, then last year we went there,
yeah.
and my kid
Yeah.
and his ski buddies were over there in the arcade the whole day.
Yeah, the
it's
arcade.
amazing. Yeah.
So we, my partner Jamie Taji has Leisure Hospitality. It's kind of funny how these projects get started.
Yeah.
He lives over there, and he said, I've got another opportunity, and it's this beautiful resort, but a large equity group owns it, and they're probably good at raising money, but they're not good at running a resort, and it wasn't cash flowing, and they just kept pouring more money in, but not running it right. I think they had the fishing guide running it. I think he got the job because they were out fishing, and they said,
He was, and
Yeah.
I'll say this for the guy. I don't know if he's still there, but he is a really nice guy.
he was the lead fishing guy in the lake, everybody's friend, and one of the coolest guys in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they call him Walleye Dan.
All I
Yeah,
did.
And
that's it.
Yeah, he
I've heard,
sounds cool.
I can say everything great about him. Walleye Dan is just a super cool guy, and so he's not the manager now, but he's still a great ambassador for us, a terrific guy. Anyway, so then we started adding those amenities. We built lakefront cabins, some of them $2 million.
Damn.
And I say we partnered with another developer. We had the land, and those sold right away.
That's dope.
And,
Hell yeah.
it's just amazing. Then we have a wood smoke residential development that loops off, and we sold those cottages. They're back in the rental pool. So that's been a fun project too.
Yeah, and it's a
to
beautiful
expand.
area up there.
Yeah.
We love
How far
it.
is this one? I've never been.
So it's 2.5 hours from here, 2 hours.
North.
Southwest.
South.
Yeah, it's like north of Grand Rapids, right?
I go south down to 210
Yeah.
and over. So it's south of Grand Rapids.
Okay, that's what it
the
is.
Brainerd Lakes area.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yep. So you go down and southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
and so, but one of the fun projects that we're tinkering with at Pier B is converting the silos.
Okay.
And the silos at Pier B were going to be the original location of the hotel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And even back then, we said, there's a lot of uncertainty. That the bankers, everybody said, we just don't know how that's going to go. So we built the building next door, But now we're going back looking at doing condominiums.
Okay.
Condominiums in the silos, maybe up top, maybe even a nightclub or an event center.
That's
it.
Right
amazing.
up top. It's
I'll
the
be
most
over there.
amazing view. That's what's so.
Backing up.
Yeah. Oh, you'll have fun.
Oh, you damn right.
So then
Let me
the other
see.
crazy idea we're pursuing, and we haven't worked out all the logistics, but as we look at adding capacity for rooms
Okay.
and new amenities, new attractions, it's really expensive right now. And so we said, how could we add all these new experiences without spending 50, 60 million?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what we're going to do, we think, is bring in a used cruise ship and park
That'd be
a
crazy.
600, maybe 350 to 400 foot cruise ship right there. And it comes, of course, plug and play with your kitchens, your rooms, your bars,
Dude,
your
that'd
event
be-
center,
that'd be
a
dope.
spa.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're hosting a business meeting and now you've got the rooms right there, you've got a stage in the venue, all your food. How about a wedding? You've got your own spa and boutique right there.
Yeah.
And people love the idea of going on there. There's a casino down on the border of Minnesota. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is, but it's on a houseboat.
Yeah.
And people love to go on there. It's like its own experience.
It is. So, we haven't worked out the logistics completely with DNR and the Corps of Engineers and all those sorts of things, but it's looking promising.
Yeah.
Had some initial conversations with the city of Duluth, and they're supportive
Yeah.
of
Okay.
figuring it out. And you can buy a cruise ship that's still in really good shape. They've even retrofitted the rooms and things, but in the last 4 or 5 years, for anywhere from 10 to 15 million. Versus 60 million if I had to build all of that
Yeah,
new.
brand new. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so,
cool.
So that's kind of a fun idea we're pursuing.
yeah.
Still working on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
my eyes open for that one. Cause
Yeah.
tell you what, that nightclub go open them silos. I'm gonna be nightclub person number one
Yeah, good.
up there.
He can be the first dancer on the floor.
That's it. You know what? Let me have that honor. I'll cut this.
All right,
shit.
all right. Let's toast to that.
There we go.
I got to remind you to get the first dance.
Take care.
Here we go.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on and just talking about the history of some places, and it's been
we
cool.
could talk for hours.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, and we'd do it again, over a real beer because there's no beer.
Have we got a
there.
time already?
No, not at all.
Oh gosh,
not at all.
Let's talk about your office space.
Oh jeez.
So we talked about your old office space at Overlook Canal Park.
Yeah.
I've been in your new office on the houseboat.
I know
I
you
thought
have.
it was the coolest office in Duluth.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we were in the Waterfront Plaza building in Canal Park, and that was being converted into the hotel and modified. So we bought the Pfeiffer Hamilton building on Michigan Street next to the old Wells Fargo parking ramp. It was right between U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo parking ramps. 2-story building right there. A 3-story building with the walkout. And then the city decided that they wanted to tear the ramp down and build a new transportation center. So it was purchased and they tore that building down. I went to the Board of Trade, and we were up in the Board of Trade. We managed that building, and they were converting that into apartments. So I was working with a gentleman named Bob Farrick, terrific guy, and he was the bucket boss guy, and he started Duluth Retail, Duluth Trading Company.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
Bob
dope.
Farrick.
And so before you go on, Duluth Trading Company is based out of Wisconsin, right?
I think they are now.
All right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
did they actually start in Duluth?
You bet.
All right, because that's always been a controversy. They're the only underwear I wear. Shout out to you,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Man.
So
But-
I'm not the expert,
Yeah.
but here's what I'll tell you. I'll finish the story and
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it circles back to
Okay,
that.
yeah.
So Bob actually bought the barge and saved it from the wrecking ball
Okay.
30 some years ago. It was a hydraulic dredge.
Mm-hmm.
So one end of the boat had the intake, the suction.
Mm-hmm.
The control tower was up where my office is now, and then it was an engine room and a discharge
Mm-hmm.
into a barge, and then they hauled it away. It was going to the scrapyard. Zenith Dredge had it, and it was going to be torn apart. And so he said, I need an office. He's a clever guy. I need an office for Duluth Trading Company. So he saved it, and he worked his tail off, and he converted it largely to what we see now,
Okay.
which is an office floating office building. And he only owned Duluth Trading Company for another 4 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
And the barge, and the reason I'm coming back to your question of where did it start?
Yeah.
The barge is on the cover of the very first catalog
Okay,
for
that's
Duluth
dope.
Trading Company. I
Hell
got a
yeah.
copy of it in my office.
Okay, all right.
So I'm pretty sure it started in Duluth, and it was, the office was here.
Okay.
So fast forward, I got to know Bob through business over the years, and And it was up behind Georgia Pacific on Max Taubert's pier that Jeff Foster now owns. And when he sold Duluth Trading, it became his office, and it was his office for the next 25 years. He and I got talking one day, and he said, it's time for me to transition this. Would you ever use it in conjunction with Pier B? I said, well, hell yes. They make one great bar, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The Barge Bar at Pier B. So I started talking to the management team down there, and I said, guys, I got a great idea. And of course, at this point, they kind of roll their eyes because they go, "Oh God, another Hoff idea, right?" Some of them are good, some of them are a little out there. And I said, "We're going to have a floating bar right here." And they said, "It's a great idea." No. And they said, "We just got so much. We're fairly new. We've only been at this 3-4 years, and great idea. But if you want to buy it and park it, we'll get to it eventually." Yeah. Well, that's when the Board of Trade was going to be converted to apartments. They said, "Well, I need an office," so. We moved it over on a November day, almost 5 years ago now. Okay. Snow on the ground, snowing to beat the band, and Alex helped me. Alex Giuliani helped me. We only had to move it, 1,000 feet, and I got the guys that own barges that were doing some environmental work in the harbor to if I bought a breakfast, would they help me move it? Yeah. And so we get down to the barge. It's 18 degrees, snowing in November. And the lines are all frozen, so we're hammering, chiseling to get the lines off. And Alex and I are helping, and the experts, the guys that run the tugboats, they said, this would go a lot better if you guys didn't help. If you just stood over there. Yeah. So we moved it over, and we've been there ever since.
That's cool. All right, I got to go in that office now and check it out.
You do. You're welcome down. I'll buy you lunch.
I appreciate it.
Both of you.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's wild. I'm telling you, dude, it's so much history around, like in Duluth alone. And for it to be so small, to know, I remember I went on that train ride that's out west, and it takes you through what is it, New Duluth or
Gary Duluth?
Yeah.
And it comes all the way through Fond du Lac, up the river.
Yep. Yeah. And it talks about how Duluth used to have the largest boat club in the world at one point. Or like a luxury boat club. But it was like the most prolific boat club there was in the world. And people from all over came here, brought yachts, and just what the town looked like. I was like, man, that's
there was a lot of money here.
Oh, I think at one point Duluth had the most millionaires per capita.
Per capita,
I've heard that. I've never confirmed it, but I've heard that. Yeah. And when you look at some of the housing that's here, there's some beautiful old homes. Yeah,
especially when you get past 21st East. Yeah, it's a lot of just beautiful homes. Or obviously out down there as you go towards Condon and stuff. Yeah. And
one of the most picturesque regions of our community is actually in that Spear Mountain area, the base of Spirit, and West Duluth, Gary Morgan Park, Spirit Valley. That whole corridor is just amazing. Yeah. And the recreation opportunities. As I drove out here to meet you guys, I'm thinking, wow, how fortunate we all are. As I drive here, I'm looking at the trail that I snowmobile on and I bike on. Yep. I'm looking at the ski hill that I mountain bike on and I ski on. Yeah. And we do the hiking out there. I'm looking at the river that I land my float plane in and I boat up. It's like, this is just amazing. Yeah. It's just amazing.
This is a great city. People always ask me, "You think you're gonna leave us? The hell, are you crazy?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm so locked in. Number one, what I do, I love. I love my job. I love working in the community and meeting new people every day, and just helping people around here. And then I never get sick of coming up over the hill. When you're coming from the cities or something.
Thompson Hill.
Yeah, you just get to see. It's like that view never gets boring.
Isn't that true?
Oh my, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Or even coming down Masaba.
Yeah.
When you come down Masaba up the top and you see, it's like, oh my gosh.
And the great thing about coming down Masaba is you're looking straight at Pier B.
Oh yeah, you want to? Hey. And now I'm gonna be focused on. Now I'm gonna be focused on Pier B.
Yeah, thank you. That's good.
So.
And you'll be looking at the silos, going, "I'm dancing."
You damn right. That's me one day. So.
I don't know if we'll get it done, but we're gonna try.
No, that's cool, man. How is it having? And so. I forgot this. So I know your daughter works for you. Does your son work for you too?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
How is it having your kids?
Oh, fabulous! They're such wonderful people. Yeah. And I'm proud of that. They're both really smart and successful, but they're just good people. Yeah, definitely. They're like the two of you. They will walk across the street to help somebody. They care about other people. They care about community.
Yeah.
And they will always strive to have people around them succeed with them.
Yeah. Yep.
Natalie and I are most proud of.
That's
My
awesome.
wife Natalie, who I said I won the wife lottery.
Yeah.
So
Hey, there you go.
I did.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful because you've got the next generation, and you don't worry about whether they're going to show up to work or not, and be positive and go. They just do it. So it's
awesome.
really special for us.
Yeah, and like I said, I met your daughter. She really is such an amazing person. Super fun. I don't think I've ever met your son. Maybe
No, I don't
in passing
think
or
so.
something. But yeah,
No,
I don't think
so.
so. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, someday you will.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll go dancing out there.
Yeah, right there we go. So
He's not a good dancer like you, probably.
that's all right.
Whether you open up the Silo Club or not,
Yeah.
he's going to be dancing on top of it.
Oh,
So.
for sure.
Okay, we're gonna have fun with that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'll probably get in trouble. But
I
that's
see
all
a
right.
rooftop dance coming somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you said, I didn't know, and forgive me for this, I didn't know that Pier B had a rooftop bar.
Yeah. Well, a
It's-
rooftop. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Or just
not
a rooftop.
Yeah, it's not a bar, but there's a roof where you can do events on.
Yeah, over
Yeah.
our pool.
Yeah.
It's an outdoor wedding venue,
Yeah.
events venue.
Yeah.
That we used to do the Wednesday Music Fest out there.
Okay.
Rooftop music, rooftop Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And we have food up there and things.
Yeah.
And we're looking at enclosing that.
Okay.
Yep. And so that's probably the next year or two. And then we're trying to add another hot tub, another spa
Yeah.
outside.
That's one thing I wish Duluth, and I get why there's not a bunch of them out here in Duluth, just because the wind and the weather can switch anytime. But just like rooftop, just like bars or, I was in DC last spring to go see my cousin and them, and we just went walking, and almost every single bar had a rooftop, where we were
Yeah.
at. And it was just like, man, I wish we had this, because I love smoking cigars,
Yeah.
especially when it's warm out. And, I do it with like Mooch and Johnny Goldfine and them.
Yeah.
We just love having cigars and stuff. It's like, man, I wish we had a spot to like just go to rooftop, look out at Lake Superior,
Yep. All right. You bring the cigars. I'll bring the scotch. And I got a spot for you, Pier
Yeah,
B.
we
We'll
do.
go outside on the deck.
We gonna lock it in.
We'll do that. So, you said it though. All seriousness, it's the weather, and that even in the springtime at Pier B, we could be outside 85 degrees, and when Mother Nature and the big ice cube,
any second.
when Gitchigumi
Yep.
blows. We were out there one night. It was just spectacular. 82 degrees,
Yeah.
and went from 82 to 46 in 30 seconds.
It's insane. Yeah.
That quick.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you're lucky to get maybe 50 nights a year
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah,
tolerable.
this year we've been fortunate.
Yeah, we had some good nights this year.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. And it's hard for restaurants to invest in that capital expenditure
Definitely.
when you don't get the return.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
But we've got some great venues. You think of Sir Ben's. And
I love Sir Ben's.
Pier B, we've got a nice outdoor venue. And the boat club has that wonderful, sort of bridge structure out over the railroad tracks. And, and we love to support our other restaurants in town. The guys at your boat club do a great job. And
We, me and Joe, it's probably starting tonight actually. So another segment of the podcast that we're doing is Taste Twin Ports.
okay.
So we're going to start, and Pier B's on the list.
Yeah.
But we're going to start hitting all the different breweries as well as restaurants here,
Okay.
just all across the Twin Ports.
Yeah.
Specifically Duluth and Superior.
Sure.
But and just tasting different things, trying different things, just giving reviews. Not really looking to do like no negative reviews or anything, but just just talk about the experience and what they have to offer and things, because there's not any of that here.
That's right.
And we're such a touristy area
Yeah.
that it'd be cool to get out. That way, if people they just search Duluth or something, we can come up. They can check out different things that we have been to. And, hopefully visit. So I remember when I
Showcase the personality is
Yeah.
terrific. You think of it from Pier B and the experience we have
Yeah.
compared to Sir Ben's
Yeah.
or Grandma's,
Yeah.
totally different.
Everything,
The Pickwick is totally different. Von Benny,
Yep.
your boat club. Every one is not just another restaurant on
Exactly.
the row
Yep, it's
with different
experience.
food. The whole experience is different.
yeah, okay.
I'm going to invite you up to the Rustic Inn, though. Get you out of Duluth. Come
Well,
on up the North
definitely.
Shore when you do one.
Best pop. I'm gonna tell you right now. No disrespect to Betty's, but I'm gonna tell you what.
Betty who?
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah, who's
Never heard of
Betty?
her. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you what. I'll never forget. And it's my first year up here. Thanksgiving I stayed, and it was just me by myself. And this person that I knew up here, I made a friend with. He was like, "Hey, I know you ain't, you just by yourself on Thanksgiving. I'm gonna bring you a piece of pie that I think is the best pie in the world." I was like, "Man, it's probably not, but thank you, I appreciate it." Raspberry and cream.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you something, Joe.
Yeah.
He didn't bring me a piece. He brought me the pie. I ate that entire pie that night. Felt terrible, but it was the best. Gosh,
Many
man.
people have started with one piece and eaten the whole pie.
Yeah, it's not even.
And all the rest of the food at Rustic is handmade too.
Yeah,
Homemade.
yeah. And I've had it years ago when I was up there.
All right, so after you hit the restaurants here, come on up the shore.
We roll that kid.
So what's the history of that place?
So, it was a cabin that they hauled over from one of the resorts, and then I've forgotten the original owners of it, but they started a restaurant on the shore, and of course all the food was homemade in those days. And then I think it was 30 years ago, Jim and Beth Sullivan purchased it, and they grew it into really the resort that it is today, or not the resort, the restaurant that it is today, with the pies, because they were really either ahead of or at the same parallel track as Betty when there was a Betty making the pies.
Yeah.
And I think they had some fun competing for the best recipes, that sort of thing. And so the Rustic ultimately stuck with all of their pies being made from scratch.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me when I go and I see all the dough, all the crust, they slice all the fruit, everything is handmade, homemade.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the way we ended up with it is we own a resort up on Lake Vermilion called the Shamrock Landing, Shamrock Marina, and it's a dry stack, vertical stack marina. 160 boats up on a shelf, right?
Yeah.
Got a $350,000 forklift that puts the boats up, right? 5 stories up. And when we bike or ski up the shore, we'd always stop at the Rustic because the food and the pies are so good. Natalie, my wife Natalie, stopped in and said, we'd like to buy some of your pies wholesale to have up there for our customers. And Beth Sullivan said, well, of course we'll do that for you. We know you from Lake Vermilion, and they're just terrific people. And but the place is for sale. If you guys are entrepreneurial like we think, why don't you buy this place? So we did.
Yeah.
And we had a young guy, Mikhail, who is the manager, does a terrific job. And he manages it. My daughter now works up there. Callie is assistant manager.
Very cool.
And so and that was only 4 years ago that we purchased that. So, and we immediately added a wing to expand pie production. We make 52,000 pies a year from scratch. 52,000 pies.
And they sell them now at
Whole Foods in Mount Royal.
Oh, trust me, I buy them out. I buy. The lady know when I walk into Whole Foods on 4th. And I walked in there the other day. She said, "We out, Pez."
Oh no!
I said, "Look, don't play with me like that."
Because you didn't go in there for the salad.
Nah, what you get? Whole Foods. I want a whole pie.
That's funny.
So they know me in there now.
So that's how that came about. But yeah, when you do your podcast on restaurants,
heck yeah.
And you know what? If you're going to do one on Pier B, it might even be fun to do one in the wintertime during Bentleyville. You've got all the lights.
Yeah, that
That's
would.
what we'll do.
Yeah, and then you could do one in the summer to say, we have restaurants that even have totally different personalities.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year.
Definitely. And what would be fun, and I'm going to reach out to you before we do it, is like to kind of, not that y'all need the marketing or nothing because y'all do great, but it'd be cool to hit a couple experiences that Pier B got.
Sure.
So try food, try drinks.
You gotta do the sauna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was leading up to.
Hey, when you're going to do it for the podcast, I'll set it up.
Yeah.
And we'll comp it and figure it out for
I got you. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to elevate it.
You're going to do the, I think you have dinner after the sauna.
All right.
So you're going to show up and get the sauna spa experience in front of Bentleyville.
Boom.
Looking at Bentleyville. Okay? And then afterwards you're gonna be done and then go in for a fabulous dinner.
Yeah, there it is. We locked in.
All right.
It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be fun.
You're in.
Well, before we go, there's a question I asked everybody, and it's if you could go back and say something to your younger self, what would it be?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Boy, I'm not even sure. I haven't thought about that. What would you do differently? How would you,
or even just advice?
Advice I would give my younger self. Well, continue to seek all the adventures that are out there. continue to embrace relationships because that is what makes life meaningful and helps create success.
Yeah.
No one does it on their own.
Yep, true.
It's we all rise up together, and I've been fortunate. I have fabulous parents, great friends. I've been able to grow up most of my life in this environment. And so I feel very fortunate.
Yeah, definitely.
I really do. I think we all could sit down and make a list of, what some of the minor things you do different. But gosh, you caught me off guard with that. Now I'm gonna lay in bed at night at 2 in the morning. I got to redo that interview.
Right. What should I say to myself?
Geez, I got a long list now. But, no, I think I've been fortunate, and my parents instilled the personality trait to look around the next corner and to capture opportunity and look for new experiences and just network with people that, like you, want to create success.
Yep.
And I'm here with two right now, the two of you. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it.
Well,
thanks for being on with us. And
do we get another hour now? This is
yeah, I'm telling you,
we'll have to get you back on after we do the sauna thing.
That'll be neat.
Yeah.
One thing we talk about too as we wrap up is like these are the conversations we love to have. Because when we first start, you think about the camera. Everybody looks over at it, but then after that, you realize we just talking, and this is conversation we could have in a bar or, sitting at the house or whatever, And it's cool for people to see, people to hear about all the time, just out of a professional setting or, outside of work or whatever. And say like, oh, shoot, we got a lot of similar interests or things we like to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this. I'm learning something, so it's just always cool. And that's why we do it. So,
good. Well, that's fun. So, let me know when you want to do it. Let's do it during Bentleyville.
Yeah.
The sauna and
definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dinner. And I will let you sauna and I might join you for dinner.
There we go. No, I appreciate it. Well, like always, like and subscribe and share. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time.